So now we are going to discuss what a prototype design pattern is. So prototype design pattern is again belonging to a category of creational design patterns. That means its whole purpose is to create objects. So prototype design pattern we use when we want to clone the existing object and change the state of the object as and when it's needed. That means I'm not creating a new objects every now and then, but I'm creating a huge object one at a time once, and then I create the huge object once and then I clone the existing object. I just clone it and change the state of the object as and when it is required. So when do we have to use prototype? So the very first question that you have to raise to yourself is, do we have too many classes to instantiate, or is the object creation a cumbersome process? So these are the two important questions that you have to raise to yourself. First question, do we have too many classes to instantiate, or is the object creation a cumbersome process? Then we have to use prototype. So mainly we don't create the objects of a class directly here, but clone the existing object and change the state of the object as and when it is needed. So the main application of such pattern is when the object creation is very costly. So if the object creation is costly, then please think of using prototype design pattern. As an example, suppose we have a database class in which the constructor sets up the database for the class. So just imagine that I have an example in which I have a database class in which the constructor of that class is setting up the database connection for me. It is setting up the entire database for me. Now for each user that is logging in into a system, once the system is up, we don't set up the database again and again, right? If the system is already up, for the very first time you will be setting up the database. But once every time a new user logs in, it's not that every time you do a setup, right? So for each user that is logging in into a system, and if the system is already up, we do not set up database again and again. So what do? We just clone the first object that was created. So when the system was getting up, we just created the very first object which created all the database settings for us. And now for every user that is logging in, we just clone the first object and change the user specific details like username, password to validate the user. So the key point here is every time when a new user is logging in into a system, we just clone the very first object that we created and we just update the user specific details into that. Make sense? A prototype is an object which is clonable. Remember, a prototype is an object that is clonable. That is, you can create a copy even though you don't know what you are creating a copy of. So that's a very important key point to remember in prototype. Okay, you can clone. So here is a UML diagram of the prototype pattern which I'll explain now. So in the prototype, please remember to include a function called clone, because clone means prototyping. So if you want to clone your objects in future, please use prototype design pattern. So remember to have a clone function there. And another key important point to remember is prototype returns copy of itself. I repeat, prototype return copy of itself. So from this prototype, I have two different classes which are inheriting: concrete prototype 1 and concrete prototype 2. So what do concrete prototype 1 returns? The clone function returns copy of itself. Very important. Prototype returns copy of itself. Keep in your mind, copy of itself, prototype. So clone function return copy of itself. What does concrete prototype 2 does? The clone function in concrete prototype 2 again return copy of itself. So these are the two different concrete prototypes which are inheriting from prototype, and the clone function of each of these classes are returning copy of itself. Now I have a client function or a client class in which I have an operation function. What exactly am I doing here? I am creating an object of prototype and I am calling clone. So what will clone do? Clone will return copy of itself. So suppose I am using concrete prototype 1, it will return copy of this guy. If I am using concrete prototype 2, it will return a copy of itself. So clone is a very important function when a prototyping goes. So I'll explain it again. So I have a prototype class. Please remember to have a clone function in it because clone creates copy of itself. So create two different subclasses, concrete prototype 1 and concrete prototype 2. So clone function in this class will return copy of itself. Clone function in this class will return copy of itself. So in the client, I just invoke a clone API and I am going to get a copy of whichever object which I am interested in. Make sense? Now I'll give you all a code example of a prototype design pattern. So let's try to have a real life example here. So I have a class called Stooge. In this Stooge, this is a prototype class. If you just compare it with my UML diagram I showed on the previous slide, class Stooge is a prototype class. In this I have a pure virtual function called clone, which I can't forget because prototype is clone. So I have a pure virtual function here, clone, and then I have different concrete prototypes here. How many concrete prototypes did I have in my UML diagram? 2. Which were those? Concrete prototype 1 and concrete prototype 2. In this example, how many concrete prototypes do I have? 3. Which are those? Class Larry, class Move, class Curly. So I have one prototype class which is abstract class and I have 3 different concrete prototype classes. So what was the important point I asked you all to remember about clone? It returns copy of itself. So class Larry, clone definition will return new Larry because it is returning copy of itself. Clone function of class Mo is returning new Mo because it's returning copy of itself. Class Curly's clone definition is returning new Curly because it is returning copy of itself. So clone, as I have mentioned, is returning copy of itself. So Larry class will return Larry, Mo class will return Mo, Curly class will return Curly. Simple. So what did I explain till now? I have a class Stooge which is a pure virtual class, pure virtual function it has. It's an abstract class, all means the same. So this is an prototype class which is abstract class, and I have 3 concrete prototype classes here. Class Larry, whose clone will return Larry, class Mo, whose clone will return Mo, class Curly, whose clone will return Curly because clone returns copy of itself. Clear? Now I am also using a factory to create the objects. Okay, so I have a class called factory which is having one array of the different prototypes that I am planning to use, and I have a function called make_stooge and I am passing a parameter from outside. If you all have heard about my factory method design pattern, can you all answer this question now? Of factory method, which of the 3 implementations is this? I had explained 3 different implementations of factory method. 3 different ways in which you can implement a factory method. So can you all answer which one of the 3 implementation is this? It's the implementation wherein I am making my factory method a parameterized factory method. That means I'm passing a parameter from outside and let this factory method have inside its function definition the logic of which object to create, which will totally depend on the value of the parameter that I get from outside. So in this mixToJ function, I get this choice from outside, and then what is it doing? First I have an array here. Now let's see what are the contents of this array. So prototypes array have a 0 as the first element, new Larry, meaning I have the Larry object as at index 1, I have more object at index 2, curly object at index 3. So I create a Larry object, I create a more object, I create a curly object. So and those objects are saved into this array. So suppose user passes value 1 here. Okay, what will happen? I am accessing this prototypes array at index 1. That means I am accessing a Larry object. So Larry object's clone API is called. So let's go to Larry object. Where is that? Oh, here is the Larry object. I am calling the clone API of Larry object. What is it returning? It is returning a new Larry object. That means because clone returns copy of itself, so I am going to get a Larry here. Suppose I had passed 2 from outside. What will it do? It will go to index 2 of this array. So 0, 1, 2. So it is going to go to object move and going to invoke clone of that object. So let's go, where is that move? Oh, here it is. So clone of that move will return move object. So what if user passes 3 from outside? If user passes 3 from outside, it's going to go to index 3 of this array. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh great, I have a curly object here. So I'm going to invoke clone of curly object. Where is curly? Oh damn, here it is. So curly clone. So it's going to return curly object of the clone. Curly object over here. This clone. Okay. So this is how the factory method is going to help us in creating these objects. And now I have a main function, which is my entry point. So let's see what am I doing here. So I've created a vector of roles. Vector is nothing but a list of roles. Okay. So I am returning a while loop here. I am accepting a choice from the user. I am asking the user to type 0 if you want to exit from my program. Type 1 if I want a Larry to be created. Type 2 if I want a Mo to be created. Type 3 if I want a curly to be created. So I am accepting that choice from the user. If choice is 0, break. Come outside my program. If choice is not 0, then what am I doing? Suppose choice is 1, then call the mixToJ function, call this mixToJ function and pass 1 to it. So it will go here and it will pass 1 to it and it will create an object of Larry. If user passes 2, again it will go here, it will get 2. So what is located at index 2? Mo. So it will call clone of Mo. So clone of Mo. So it will return Mo. Okay, understanding? So if user passes 3, then 3 will be passed here. So 3 will go here. So what is located at 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'll get curly. Curly's clone I am calling. Curly's clone will return new curly. So with this I am creating the objects based on whatever user says. Clear? So I'll just explain it again. In this prototype pattern, I have an abstract prototype class here called STOJ. And then I have the concrete prototype classes here. So class Larry is concrete prototype 1, class Mo is concrete prototype 2, class Curly is concrete prototype 3. The key point to remember in prototype design pattern is a clone API. Clone returns copy of itself. So this clone returns Larry, this clone returns Mo, this clone returns Curly because it is returning copy of itself. Then I have a factory method design pattern which I am using. I have one array here in which I save these objects. At index 0 I have 0, index 1 I have a Larry object, index 2 I have Mo object, index 3 I have a curly object. And this mixToJ is a factory method which is a parameterized factory method. So I am taking a choice from outside. Suppose user passes 2, then prototypes of 2 is going to give me 0, 1, 2. So Mo. And I am going to call a clone API of this Mo. So clone API of this Mo Let's see, this is the move class, clone API of this move will return move. So if I pass 3, it's going to go to clone API of curly. It will return curly. So because clone is all about creating copy of itself. So in the main, I'm having a continuous while loop here and expecting user to type some values. So if user types 0, then I'm exiting from the loop. If user types 1, I'm passing 1 to the factory method. That means it will create a Larry object. If I pass 2, I'm passing 2 to the factory method, meaning it will create more object. If user types 3, I'm passing 3 to the factory method. That means it will create curly object. As simple as that. So with that, I'm done with the prototype design pattern. Thanks a lot.